unusually stern in its warning, even coming from this president, was the first thing that reporters wanted to hear about because it came late last night at 11:24 p.m. Sarah Sanders took a dig at the media when they asked her if the president wants war with Iran, and when asked if he consulted with his national security team before delivering that tweet, and asked if the Iran tweet was meant to divert from all the attention on Russian meddling. Here's what she had to say.
No, I think the president has the ability, unlike a lot of those in the media, to actually focus on more than one issue at a time. And certainly we know that the media is obsessed with speaking about all Russia all the time, but the president's focused on a lot of things that are taking place across the globe, and Iran is one of them.
Moments earlier on Fox and Friends, Sarah Sanders said that the president believes when it comes to Iran, all options remain on the table.
As you know, we're never going to broadcast what actions the president may or may not take, or what specific actions is going to prompt him to take things a step further. But you can be rest assured he takes this process extremely seriously. He's monitoring and watching the actions of Iran, and if needed, he will take what steps are necessary to protect people in this country and certainly to protect the world from nuclear proliferation.
As we all know, Iran is the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism. Its hands, or its proxies, are playing key roles in many of the Middle East trouble spots, from support of Syrian dictator Assad, also in Iraq. It's playing a role with Hezbollah in Lebanon, in Yemen, in support of the Palestinian Authority, even in Venezuela, a major player in the cocaine trade emanating from Central America. Iran is also an ally of President Putin, so questions about whether the tweet was intended to divert attention away from Russian meddling seems to be misplaced. All that said, the president remains under fire, even from some in his own party, for Helsinki and the aftermath of Helsinki. Here's Senator Lindsey Graham on Face the Nation yesterday.
He's changed his mind 4 times this week. I'm glad that he's willing to walk things back and say he misspoke if it makes us stronger. I'd given anything if President Obama would have changed his mind when it came to withdrawing troops. He was told if you do this, it'll be a disaster. He did it anyway. President Trump at least is willing to change. But what I think he needs to do is lead this nation to make sure that the 2018 election is protected.
That said, Helsinki seems not to have damaged the president's popularity. In a new NBC Wall Street Journal poll, it rose to 45%, 1% up from June, the highest it's been.
Let's bring in from the White House, Press Secretary Sarah Sanders. Sarah, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so what's going on with the president and Iran?
Look, the president's been clear from the beginning, since the first day he took office, and even before, that nuclear proliferation was something that he was not going to tolerate, something he would aggressively stand up and talk about. And he's certainly not going to listen to aggressive leaders from other countries and their empty threats against America. And he's going to stand up and make sure that we're protecting Americans and certainly protect the world from nuclear proliferation. It's something he takes seriously, and he's going to continue to be tough on this topic.
Sarah, what kind of a threat from Iran would allow our president to respond, and what kind of a response would that be?
Well, as you know, we're never going to broadcast what actions the president may or may not take, or what specific actions is going to prompt him to take things a step further. But you can be rest assured he takes this process extremely seriously. He's monitoring and watching the actions of Iran, and if needed, he will take what steps are necessary to protect people in this country and certainly to protect the world from nuclear proliferation.
Sarah, we've been on the couch the entire morning, so we have not necessarily seen this because we're not watching other media. But you can be sure mainstream media is going to attack the president for his all-caps tweet saying he's inciting a problem with Iran. What's the president's response to that?
The only person that is inciting anything is Iran. The president has been very, very clear, again, since day one, what his objectives are. And he's certainly not going to tolerate the leader of Iran making threats against Americans, making threats against this country, making threats against Israel. This is a president who is going to stand up and make sure he is doing what is necessary. He's showing peace through strength. But if needed and steps are required, this president is not afraid to take them.
You know what, Sarah, this is somewhat reminiscent of last August when the president was going back and forth with Kim Jong-un, calling him Little Rocket Man. And, Kim Jong-un was saying some derogatory things as well. But then eventually the president talked about fire and fury. You know, you better look out, or fire and fury coming your way, which ultimately led to direct talks with Kim Jong-un. Is that part of the game? Is that part of the equation? Maybe, you know, this tough talk will lead to some sort of agreement?
Look, the president certainly uses tough language, but he's also not afraid to take tough steps if necessary. Thankfully, it didn't come to that with North Korea. Hopefully it doesn't come to that with Iran or anyone else. This is a president who wants to see peace. This is a president who wants to work with other world leaders. This is a president who wants to bring people together, but at the same time, he is going to do what is necessary to protect Americans and to make sure that he's laid that out very clearly. I don't think there's any question what Donald Trump's idea is here is that he's going to do whatever is necessary to protect Americans.
Sarah, let's talk about the FISA warrant application. Congress has been asking for this. Republicans in Congress have been asking for the unredacted form. Well, Judicial Watch, through Freedom of Information Act, they got this, and it's 412 pages. If you start flipping through it, you can see all the redactions. Well, Congress sent a letter. You have 13 Republicans in Congress, led by Devin Nunes. Trey Gowdy was part of this. And they sent a letter on June 14th to the president saying, can you please get the unredacted FISA application? We want to see what it all says. And they have the ability to do that. We as Americans can't, but they have confidentiality status where they're able to look at it all. Do you think the president's going to get involved? Will he demand from the DOJ, look, you need to hand this over to Congress?
Look, the president wants transparency in this process. I think what you can see even just from the information that has been released is that the president's been right all along, that this is a total waste of time and certainly a waste of taxpayer money. His campaign had nothing to do with Russia, but had everything to do with a great message to defeat Hillary Clinton. And that's exactly what that campaign was focused on. And that's exactly what this president has done since he got into office. And I think we'd all be a lot better off if we could get this out of the way and that Congress and the special counsel could come to the same conclusion that the rest of America has, that this is a hoax and a waste of time. And let's move on and focus on some of the big problems and big challenges we actually have to face as a country.
Well, has he not asked for it because he just doesn't want to get involved?
Look, that remains to be seen, but the president would like this to operate independent of him, but he certainly has asked for the Department of Justice to be transparent.